Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I'm Sonic the Hedgehog here, and I'm Piglet here. We are back for the Maxi Toys, and welcome back to more Let's Play of Super Smash Bros. Brawl Subspace Emissary mode. So yes, last time we actually did tackle through those two levels, which are the lake and the ruined zoo. So today for this episode, we're about to continue on and moving on into the next level, which was the Battlefield Fortress. And so far, we actually got 17% completion for this so far. We're doing not that bad when it comes to finding secrets though, haven't we? Yeah, I know that, right? So anyways, let's go ahead and jump into the level itself. So this level might be a little bit long, but even then, we'll eventually try to beat this in under 20 minutes or something. So let's go ahead and jump in. Morph. So right off the bat though, we actually got ourselves a returning playable character since Super Smash Bros. Melee, so as you can clearly tell, we're now going to be playing as Morph from the get-go. So how it works for Morph then, he plays exactly like how he does in Super Smash Bros. Melee, is that he can still perform this little, if you press the B all alone, then he can actually perform himself this little sword combo and stuff like that. And also if you actually try to use the side B attack, he can perform, I can't exactly what that, I can actually describe that attack. And then the up B attack is just the usual thing that you can actually use to recover yourself from not going down to the bottomless pit or something. And finally, the down B attack performs himself the counter attacks, even though eventually if the, the enemies are about to strike on you, then it's best to recommend you use the counter attack so that you can actually just reflect it back. So that's pretty handy though. So, in order to actually notice something is that, much like in Super Smash Bros. Melee, is the fact that Mark was, once again, the unlockable character to begin with. I'm pretty sure in order to actually describe it, and the only thing I can describe as, although before we actually get into this, if we go onto this door here, another secret. Which means it contains the yellow box. Ooh, first CD! First CD obtained for our Let's Play of this game. In this case, our redo Let's Play on this, so pretty fantastic. Pretty great start for finding the CDs though, kind of think about it. So anyways though, oh yeah, one thing we have to notice, something is the fact that I'm pretty sure that, I'm guessing if we already mentioned this before or not, but if you couldn't tell in the top left corner, you can see this little numbers indicator. This means it's the score count, so every time when you kill the enemy from the Subspace Emissary mode, you can actually add up to your score counts, even though it's nothing major, but it's nice to actually have. It's precisely the point that it actually usually adds up to your score points to your total score for the world map. So even then though, at that time, yeah. So we actually come across into these new types of enemies, and even then though, even more enemies we're about to be come across into. First things first is the Arm Knight, which is essentially the this little floating looking creature with this little saw blades and stuff, or even these little blades. And even then though, they can be kind of annoying sometimes because they directly right about against you. And there's also a new types of enemies we'd be running to, as you can see, these are known as Roaders. I remember that one time we actually dreaded these guys, even especially noticeable back in 2012. You know there's one level that usually takes you off at the end of a level, because this was one part when if you think you're about to reach the end of a level, but it turns out you actually get screwed over by the Roader, almost an instant KO. Even especially noticeable if you actually get yourself a higher percentage meter with you, like if you have like 100%, and then the next thing you notice is that you will instantly get knocked over by these Roaders, such as like this. But even then, the next thing you know is that if the cameras think sometimes they're trying to keep up with you, but some other times though they never seem to keep up with you. So anyway, so let's go ahead and just destroy these little idiots, and then eventually he'll try to one will actually going to explode it. There we go. Now I can enter the next door. Meta Knight. So yeah, we have ourselves yet another new playable character introduced in the Super Smash Bros. Series. As we mentioned earlier, he's known as Meta Knight. So, conveniently enough though, this is actually the second Kirby playable character in the Super Smash Bros. Series introduced. So yeah, it's kinda cool. So how it works for Meta Knight, he's actually a pretty cool looking character. But some people usually think this is the only installment to actually think that Meta Knight is easily the most broken character in the game. Well, we'll explain more on that later. But even then though, let's talk about his moveset. If you press the standalone B attack, he can perform himself his Mech Tornado, which he actually transforms into a tornado in any direction one he wants to go to. And side B attack can perform himself a Drill Rush, and also the up B attack, which is called the Saddle Loop, which honestly that ability is actually honestly broken because you can actually use that ability like unlimited amount of time, even not until when it gets to the point if you touch the ground. So, and finally the down B attack performs himself the Dimensional Cape, which is usually the the teleportation thing. So pretty standard stuff though when it comes to that particular character performs as. But even though he's pretty awesome to actually just see in action in the Super Smash Bros. Game. But eventually we're actually going to be encountering some again another set of playable characters before we actually moving on. So that's as far as them is concerned. That's how it usually goes though. So anyway though, so unfortunately though we actually lost Meta Knight due to the enemy damage outputs, which is a little bit cheap right there. But honestly it's not that too noticeable. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Anyways, just trying to deal with this little abomination enemies again. But hopefully that we're still able to actually play as Meta Knight nonetheless. So, but even then though, I remember that one time when then back in 2012, this is the first point, this is the part where we actually got ourselves our first game over back in the day. Because even then though, because we actually used the co-op playthrough on this game. Now the only bad thing about the cooperative mode is that if you actually manage to lose one star, sometimes though that another thing is worth mentioning though is that if you somehow die at certain points of some of the enemy encounters, like if one player actually loses one life and then the other player still survives, somehow you instantly get yourself a game over while it's only one player only. So if two players out, so you still manage to live as one player, but if one player or player 1 is out before when player 2 survives, this means it counts as game over. So that's pretty a little bit nerve-wracking for my taste. So that's why we decided to actually go ahead and again redo this Let's Play due to the sound quality is a little bit too obnoxiously loud, and secondly that our commentary is a little bit too unstable, and finally that that hopefully that you don't get any sort of interruptions like Stuart constantly interrupting our conversations. So that's why we decided to do that. But I will admit though is the fact that he doesn't usually how can I describe? Oh, there's another trophy. But however though, you need to get out there quick, just because if you actually get crushed onto that part, you'll instantly die, so... Yeah, for this level of the Battlefield Fortress, it's more likely based on platforming stuff, and also simultaneously, it's all about enemy endurance runs, even then though, kind of like how it does it in Sonic Heroes, when you have to actually deal with a whole bunch of enemies. Like, it's almost exactly similar here. And also these particular sections when you go into the complete stop into a different segment, when you're actually trying to deal with a whole bunch of enemies. It always does reminds me like I was playing Sonic Rush, these little enemy rooms that you're actually going to come across into? Those were these little situations when there's some segments like this, so... Anyway though, so this level's not that bad. It takes a little bit longer to actually just try to complete it, but hey, at least we still got our YouTube content though still, so we can actually have the ability to actually record as many parts as we possibly can, even for a long amount of time, so... But we remember that back in 2012 that we usually did this just only for one level in part number 4, as far as I'm concerned, so... Usually that was back in... Did he just somehow leave? Okay, that's a bit too funny. Anyway, it's just like that, you know these little new enemies that we're actually going to be facing off against? With these little, I can't know exactly what their names were, but we'll find out until we actually just encounter those. So anyways, let's go ahead and deal with these little eyeball-looking fishy type enemies. Seriously, it does remind me of fishes when I was, like, when I first managed to discover that. Okay, these are these enemies right here, you know, what the, you know, has some wheels attached to it. We'll get to that as soon as we actually go to attack him. So these are called, if we actually try to attack him first. Come on, there we go. The Auto Lance is that the Auto Lance, you know the other one we actually already defeated from earlier ago? That, he decided to think that even though his head is almost got off, and then he was like, I'm quit. I'll just decide to quit the battle. And I was like, really? Okay. Oh, there's another one over there. Sometimes you gotta be very careful right there, because he'll sometimes pulls out his weapon out of his, you know, inside of this body. So that way you just have to do like a quick dodge and stuff, so, yeah. And now we ended up in the underground section, in this case the cavern sequence, is that we're actually gonna be taking on this minecart sequence, apparently, because even then though, it does remind me like I was playing the Donkey Kong Country original trilogy, excluding Donkey Kong Country Returns for Nintendo Wii, and especially Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. That, except the fact that if you somehow jump, you somehow, exit out the minecart, so... Even though, unlike how it does it always, there's a new trophy we actually collected. But anyway, so, yeah, with that being said though, is that, back in Donkey Kong Country games, is that you instantly jump with the minecart, and the only one exception was actually from, the original Donkey Kong Country game with the first minecart level that you could actually jump off the minecart, and it's a bit like that. But, hey, as long as we actually don't deal with these little tight, obstacles and stuff, so... Oh yeah, we completely forgot about these enemies pointing down these little projectiles, which are, these are known as, if we actually try to attack them, bomb cards, which this allows, this enemy will allow him to actually drop these little fire projectiles at us, even then it pulls down, just like how it does it when it actually tips the water all over it. It's kind of like that, but anyways, let's go ahead and deal with these new type of variations of these pyramids, known as the sword pyramids, which, the only noticeable difference was though, is that, oh yeah, we haven't explained more on the, another variation of this as well, which is called the scope pyramids, which, I'm pretty sure we already mentioned that, but I'm pretty sure that what these guys can do is that you can actually carry the scope guns, and especially the sword, in this case the beam sword. So yeah, that's the only noticeable difference with these, you know, these variations right here. And for this sort of particular sequence is that you don't actually control the minecarts, they'll just go automatic basically, so... Yeah, kind of like how it does it for, it always kind of reminds me like I was playing Sonic 4 Episode 1 on the iPhone devices, in the level from Lost Labyrinth Zone Act 2, that you're actually going to be, you know, on a minecart. So, yeah, that was about it for this sequence. Ike. So yeah, another new playable character introduced in the Super Smash Bros. Series, known as Ike. And for what I recall, although we haven't exactly mentioned about the Meta Knight's first appearance from, Meta Knight's first appearance was actually from Kirby's Adventure for the NES. So yeah, that's all there is to know. And as for Ike's first appearance, it was actually probably, to me, it will probably be on the Ghost 2 Fire Emblem Path of Radiance for Nintendo GameCube, because that's what the actual model is actually represents from. However, though, it wasn't exactly 100% true, but that honor goes to Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn for Nintendo Wii. But even then, though, between Fire Emblem Path of Radiance, and even especially noticeable in Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn, is that both of these games are really expensive now. But even then, still, even to this day. I kind of wish they actually had themselves a re-release version of the game until on the Wii U's Virtual Console re-release. But let's talk about on the Ike's moveset. Basically, that if you press the down B attack, as you can clearly saw, he can actually perform himself his counter attack, just like Marth. And also that he can perform a side special attack, he performs a quick draw. And also the standalone B attack, which is essentially interruption. And finally the up B attack, which was the Eva. So that can be really handy for you if you're actually trying to recover yourself and you don't want to fall down to the bottomless pit down below. And especially that the only noticeable difference was though between Marth and Ike is that Marth is usually the fastest and the quickest. However, Ike though, while he's a little bit too slow compared to how he does it for Marth, however, his attack variations is now extremely powerful. Like, he's literally the strongest swordsman you've ever going to be playing as in this game. So, yeah, for the third and final part, this is basically the enemy endurance run. So that's all there is to know. So yeah, that concludes the Battlefield Fortress. And it looks like the ancient ministers got away. So, anyways, let's see what trophies we actually got. We got ourselves a scope, pyramid, grape, super spicy curry, and Riola from Pokemon Generation 4. And as for stickers, we actually got tons of stickers. Red, Brazil from F-Zero GX, Pits from Kid Gris from the original Game Boy game, but I can't know exactly what that represents from. Pooh. That's so funny, Sonic. The Pooh. No, I'm just kidding. Pooh from Earthbound. Eva from Metal Gear Solid 3. Snake Eater for the PlayStation 2. And I'm pretty sure we already got Telly from Chibi Robo. Chibi Robo from Chibi Robo himself. Coin from New Super Mario Bros. And a new CD, Mike's Theme, which actually plays out in WarioWare Inc. stage. So yeah, kind of cool actually. So yeah, let's about to move on here. Luigi. King DDD. There's also another alternate cutscene where it plays exactly almost identical to the likes of when King DDD managed to steal the cards where Wario's about to be using, but except the fact that rather than actually kidnapping Princess Peach, instead he actually steals Princess Zelda, so that's another alteration right there. But again, it all depends on what princess you'll be saving in the beginning parts of Subspace Emissary, so right off the get-go though, you see Luigi in action, just like how it does in the previous two installments, including another newcomer introduced in the Super Smash Bros. Series, known as King DDD, which is usually, we'll talk more onto him when we actually proceed, because there's no way we can actually play as those two yet. And also these bunch of cute Waddle Dees there, so yeah, as you can see, he actually kidnaps Zelda instead of Peach, so yeah, another alternate cutscene. So you still see Ness and Luigi act out as trophies, and you'll still actually be seeing Wario every once in a while. But apart from those sides of things, nothing remarkably different between the alternate scenes and stuff like that. But still, it might actually act out exactly identical. But even then though, King DDD now is going to be driving this little contraption. And it looks like he's got away. Alongside with the groups of Waddle Dees though, that's actually pretty cute. But anyway, and then Wario just grunts like nothing else. So anyways, that concludes the Battlefield Fortress, and now we've got to move it on into... I think we actually got plenty of time to actually do one more level. In this video's case, we're about to be exploring the forest. And right now, we actually got 3 swordsman army, or in this case, the 3 swordsman playable characters, which are Marth, Meta Knight, and Ike. So, pretty solid standard stuff. And yeah, let's go ahead and move on into the forest level now. So, we actually got 20%. Link. Yoshi! So yeah, now we can actually play as Link or Yoshi. So let's talk for Link first, before we actually get into Yoshi's movesets though. So, how it works for Link in Super Smash Bros. Brawl? Well, he plays exactly like how it does in Super Smash Bros. 64 and Super Smash Bros. Melee, as we already said, like, dozens of times at this point. But what he can do now is the fact that he still performs himself, well, the standalone B attack can perform as the hero's bow, and also that he can actually perform himself the spin attack while using the up special attack, and the down B attack he performs himself once you're actually going to be using their bomb. However, the biggest noticeable difference between Melee and Super Smash Bros. 64, and especially between this, is the fact the Link's side special attack, while it's exactly identical to the likes of how it does it previously, however, the different tactics is actually now different. But first, let's go ahead and grab ourselves a Puppet, the new types of variation of these enemies we're about to be run into. And these little kissy looking enemies, we haven't explained that too much. These are called Baculius, which, no, trophy stand is now gone. Yeah, with these Baculius enemies, they do kind of remind me of almost related to these enemies from Super Mario Sunshine, with these, you know, these little flying looking enemies that you're actually going to be run into, like PD Piranha Strikes Back mission. That it does remind me of these guys for some reason, but except the fact that you can easily defeat them. Well, oh yeah, before we actually get into that, another secret room, which contains a new trophy as well as the heart container. So let's go ahead and grab those, these little goodies and stuff. And then, yeah, let's talk about a neat side special attack for Link. That, you know in the previous games that he can actually perform just a regular boomerang? This time, however, that is actually a little bit more upgraded for Link. Instead, it actually uses the exact same thing, but the likes of it's called, Gale Boomerang, which this means it actually casts a 12 wind alongside with the boomerang at the same time. So, it's pretty, noticeably changeable compared to how it does it for Melee and especially 64's days. But even then, I don't mind about it too much, because for one thing, you're actually trying to make some of these enemies will actually blown off, and eventually that they I don't know how you can describe this actually, but even then though, I think it's mainly due to the fact that well, I can't really exactly like you're supposed to know. So anyway, so as far as Link's model is concerned, is that unlike in Super Smash Bros. 64 and Super Smash Bros. Melee, that I think it's usually stuff of it's like takes place from Queen of Time's voice. But however, this time around though in Brawl, and especially Super Smash Bros. 4, although granted in Super Smash Bros. 4 that it might actually add out something more likely different design than the likes of Brawl. But even then though, it's mostly due to the fact that it always happens in each console. Anyway, so here we have ourselves yet another new types of enemies we're about to be encountered with these little familiar enemies. They do kind of remind me of like magic carpets for some reason from Aladdin, but except the fact that it's not related to that because it doesn't have this little ancient looking design, so instead it's just, you know, pinkish alongside with these little couple of stripes. So hey, as long as from that though, however, so yeah, there's nothing else to discuss. So anyway, so yeah, with this Link's model design, this is actually heavily borrowed from, similar to Zelda, that is actually heavily borrowed from Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess for Nintendo GameCube and Nintendo Wii. So because of that though, you know, Zelda Twilight Princess came out in 2006, and then this game came out in 2008. That, again, originally it was supposed to come out in 2007, but due to the fact they need to add a lot more content. So that makes perfect sense to me, because without a lot more content, then there's not much else to do. So that's a good thing that they managed to actually delay the game, even though it's a bit of a pain to wait. But even apart from that, though, it's a lot more impatience and stuff like that back in the day, back in 2006 or 7, so there's one of those days. So anyways, in this level right here, we're actually going to be coming across into, again, as you probably expected, a lot more enemy encounters up ahead. Ah, God, we actually got Link out. Well, that's fine, because now we can actually talk through Yoshi's movesets now. So, Yoshi, as far as this installment is concerned, he plays exactly like he does it for Melee, and especially Super Smash Bros. 64. He can still perform himself the egg lag, or egg lay, while just simply to swallow these enemies, just like he does it before. And then if you try to swallow the, like, for instance, if you actually do the versus battles and stuff like that with him, then that way you can actually create a Yoshi's eggs. Even though it will start to hatch every once in a while, but even then though, that's, yeah, pretty noticeable thing. So, And the next thing you might notice is that the side special attack can perform an egg roll, which is self-explanatory, which can transform you into an egg, and you can actually move in any directions. And if you press the B button again, you'll transform back into its normal self. So, and finally, the up B attack, or in this case, the next thing is the up B attack can perform an egg throw, which is self-explanatory. And finally, the down special attack can perform a Yoshi bomb. So, in this case, a ground pound, if you like to call it that. So, that's about it when it comes to Yoshi's movesets, and besides the point though, much like it does in Super Smash Bros. Melee, his beat kicking attack is actually returning from here, so that's really handy, especially if you're actually trying to deal with these bunch of enemies quicker. Oh yeah, before we actually get to this, however, is that, I guess there's not much else we can say about this there, honestly, so, between the Links and, especially the, Yoshi's movesets, they play exactly like how it does in the previous games, so... Yeah, I'm pretty sure in order to actually, we haven't exactly explained too much on Marth's unlockable method in Super Smash Bros. Brawl. I'm pretty sure if I remember rightly, is that you need to actually compete in 10 matches in versus mode. So, in fact, speaking of versus matches requirements, oh god, we actually got screwed over by this little weird collusion or something like that. Oh, please don't. Oh, okay, good. So we actually respawn onto that point. So at least we got that. So anyways, here we have ourselves another new type of enemies we're about to be encountering. These are known as egg pods. Every time when you're trying to crack the shell up, that means this face will actually just about to pop up. And as a result, they're pretty easy to defeat though. But first things first, again, you have to take down the shell first before you actually deal the real damage of him. So that's all there is to know. Anyways, before we actually proceed, it's going to check on this, anything we actually missed out on. In fact, I don't think we actually missed on something, so let's just say we should be able to continue. So yeah, I don't think there's any point to destroy that, because it's there. So anyway though, so yeah, when it comes to unlocking Marth in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, all you need to do is just compete in 10 matches in versus mode, so... Speaking of that though, is that the versus matches requirements in order to actually unlock certain characters now actually decrease this time, because remember back in Melee, it can take forever to actually unlock certain characters while you're doing the versus matches and stuff, like usually it takes about hundreds to go. This time however, it's actually going decreasing this time, but like, you know, just actually trying to do a little bit more versus matches and stuff. It also does the exact same thing in Smash 4 as well. Even though that's how we can actually notice by that. I don't know why I did that right there. It's probably because you paying too much attention on secrecy, as you can clearly tell. And there goes all stickers vanished. That was probably your fault, Sonic, for actually just, you know, not paying attention to the secrecy and stuff. Oh, I'm sorry, Pickler. It's just the fact that I can't help it for myself. I don't think there's any secret down there, because that's a bottomless pit, so even then I don't know why that platform was usually there. But anyways, let's go ahead and approach into this little shiny effect, and then, yeah. So now that Link and Yoshi needs to find another way in order to actually proceed to the Hell Bird. But even though that's we can actually do that. So 2 puppet trophies, Electrode from Pokemon Generation 1, Jill from obviously Drilldoza and Animal Crossing Boy again, Kundane, which I can't remember what that actually represents from, Ukui from Zelda Twilight Princess, Ray 1 from Custom Robo B. I can't pronounce that very well, I'm gonna be honest with you. Rob Hollywood from Wave Race Blue Storm for the GameCube, Toad from Mario Party 6, and Petey Piranha from Mario Golf Toadstool Tour. This box seems very familiar. So now we got ourselves to play as Link and Yoshi in our team. So yeah, that's all there's to know. So anyways, let's say we're gonna have to end things off here, so join us next time on Let's Play Super Smash Bros. Brawl Subspace Emissary mode. It's about that we're moving on into the next level, the research facility. So see you guys next time. Later, fellas.